Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I am Chief Apostle Samuel Jr. I am the apostle and pastor of Apostolic Faith of Jesus Christ Incorporated, and my beliefs are deeply rooted in the ATRs. Those are the African traditional religions by which we harness, direct, and disperse energy, frequency, and vibration. To each and every one of you guys, thank you so much for being a part of my platform. To the melanated people, I am here. Thank you so much for the likes and the shares. I want to say to each and every one of you guys, first of all, salutations to my Madrino, to my Padrino, to my Oba, and to all of my brothers and sisters in Ifa, Voodoo, Santeria, Lakumi, Congo, Palo, Mystic, and Adjays. I want to say to each my air signs, my water signs, my earth signs, and my fire sign. Thank you so much for being with us. We are in the season of good morning, a good day to Miss Whitney, my fellow Sagittarius. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you guys on my platform. I'm a Sagittarius. My moon is in Aries and rise sign in Pisces. I'm not here to change anybody's mind. I'm here to give knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I've been doing magic, conjure, and mysticism, enter into Haitian voodoo and the other black arts. I've been doing magic ever since I was like 3 to 4 years old. I'm 52 years of age. I am here to give out information for grown men and women that are resonating with the things that I say. And so at no time, if you feel that this does not apply to you, then don't adhere to it. What I will say, universal laws apply to each and every person, whether you're independent, a Christian, whether you are AJ, whether you consider yourself a witch, or you may consider yourself a atheist. It still is applicable to each and every one of us. Universal laws when it comes to that, what we are saying, basically, energy, frequency, and vibration. Now, your particular tradition may be closed to non-melanated people, but doesn't mean that non-melanated people cannot utilize energy, frequency, and vibration. I just want to make that clear. This particular live is for educational purposes only. And I want to talk about, and I target melanated people because I'm melanated. And we have had a system of oppression for 500 years without any help from Africa and Africans. This is what I want to share today. This is as above, so below. We're talking about Mars energy. And a lot of the things that I have been successful in is because I understand the actions that I take or the actions that I don't take, how they affect my reality and my outcome. And so a lot of times we tend to complain about things because of the conditioning without applying our actions and trying to create a different reality in that same condition. The Serenity Prayer has a lot of wisdom in it, and it's saying accept those things that you cannot change. When you're saying that you accept things that you cannot change, it doesn't mean that you have to live under the conditions that were created by that condition. In other words, I can still have quality of life even though I had anemia. I can still have quality of life even though I'm dealing with racism. A situation or something implemented to make you have a more difficult time does not mean that you have to lose your quality of life. And what I mean by that, I want to talk about fear around African spirituality. And I want you to understand that we are multi-dimensional creatures, which means if you are operating in fear for whatever reason around African tradition, it has a lot to do with your emotional body. the reason why, as a Sagittarius, I love dealing with universal laws, because these are the things that people cannot redefine. Universal laws are not established for one tradition or another. They apply to everybody, whatever their zodiac sign, whether they acknowledge those zodiac signs or not. And when it comes down to the ATRs, the reason why I want to start first with African spirituality, because everybody has a template based on that same African tradition, no matter what it is. You call it whatever you want to after you have recoined it. But at the end of the day, African was the beginning of civilization. And so I want to identify, before we take action, identify where fear comes from and where it operates. And it operates in our emotional body. Because by definition, fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief. So you have to believe in the emotion in order for it to take root in your soul. Okay? The belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely causing pain and a threat to. So why would someone want to invoke or persist in you fearing your own African spirituality? Because the main reason, if I could make you fear it, you won't practice it. It's just that simple. When you want to get beyond fear, you got to deal and embrace with knowledge. If you have a fear of something and you have not applied yourself to gain knowledge about that subject matter that you are fearing, then this is what happens when people embrace Christianity over their African spirituality. Let me explain. Christianity was forced on you. African spirituality you have to embrace. It's innate. One religion and one form of spirituality was indoctrinated. The other spirituality is a way of life, a way of nature, a way of, and it is up to the individual how they want to apply themselves in Mother Nature and Father Sky. Because melanated people are the microcosm of the universe. And I want you to understand why someone would want you to have fear of that African spirituality, because they understand. See, you have to understand the intention before you understand the fear and the fear mongering around African spirituality. You have to understand why someone would go out their way to make you afraid of melanin. Melanin is the dark matter or the chaos energy or the life force of the universe. And melanated people that possess this melanin has the higher form of energy in the universe. And so therefore, if I can't compete with that melanin energy, then I want you to disband, or I'm going to try to create a separation or wedge between you and your spirituality. It is just that simple. Even though melanin is a natural substance, a natural material, it is born in you, as a natural person. And so therefore manifestation comes about quite quickly when you are operating in melanin energy. And you understand the reason why melanin is so important, because it allows you to connect with Mother Earth. And the reason why that is important, because you can't do hoodoo, voodoo, and any of these ATRs without connectivity to Mother Earth. You can't call upon higher powers or your higher self without the connectivity of your melanin. That allows you to communicate spiritually with your higher self as well as your lower self. And this is why this is essential. This is why they demonize your 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons, which is the infamous 666, the mark of the beast. The reason why we are called beasts or gorillas or animals is because of melanin. Melanin allows us to be in touch with forests, the terrain. Trees are a part of us, and we are part of those trees. And because of melanin, it allows us a higher, I'm trying to say this because we on TikTok. So trying to find other synonyms. Melanin allows us to be so in touch with nature and the rainforest and all these things that it creates a natural jealousy. Do you understand? And when you don't respect your melanin, someone can separate you from that melanin or the operation thereof. There's no reason why someone would have to come out of Christianity to practice African spirituality, because religion is a vehicle, just like a bicycle is a vehicle, just like a car is a vehicle. One will allow you to transport from one destination to the other based off what it has the velocity to do. I love the way you break down everything. It's so knowledgeable. Thank you so much. Now, the reason why I want you to understand why people have, especially in church, in melanated churches, emotionalism, that's why we have the keyboards and we have the organs and we have the instrument, because it is easier, hear me well, it is easier to connect with somebody from an emotional place than it is for you to connect from a spiritual place. I'm going to say this again. The reason why people use fear tactics, because it's easier to tap into your emotional body than to tap into your spiritual body. The melanin allows you to tap into your higher self, which is your spirituality. See, you can get emotional and not manifest, but you can't get spiritual and not manifest. I'm going to say it again. Fear is an unpleasant. So there's no reason for somebody to have you fear something and it has no good intent, because it's an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief. Because you believe that someone or something is dangerous and likely to cause pain and threat. So why is that significant? If I'm afraid that you're going to do to me what I did to you, this is why the concept of forgiveness is so essential in Christianity. Because you're melanated and I have caused you pain, and I've caused you hurt, and I caused you discomfort, and I caused you to lose out on your inheritance. If I don't get you to forgive me, then I'm going to be held accountable, and my ancestors going to be held accountable for the seeds that I have sown against you. So this is why I have to make you believe that I should not suffer loss. This is why you see people do all kind of things against people, and then they believe that all they got to simply do is get your forgiveness. And melanated people, because they don't have a respect for their energy and their life and their timeline. I'm going to say this again. I'm not here to change your mind. Thank you for the likes. I'm here to help you understand why fear is existing and why it has been allowed to run rampant against your spirituality. If I want to subdue you, I have to detach you from what is natural and powerful. See, if you go to a power plant and you have a respect for that energy center, then you can navigate effectively through what you respect. You can be on the top floor, you can be on the bottom floor. You will always come out safe because you have a respect for the energy and the place of energy, and therefore you benefit. And rather than having fear of touching anything, you know what to touch because you got respect for it. You know what not to touch because you got respect for it. When people don't want you to have respect for your energy, your frequency, and your vibration, and your mere existence, that's a problem. As a grown man and woman, you should want to respect your energy. And you should want other people to respect your energy and how much of that energy that you want to display with people, places, and things. And I need to demonize what I can't control. What I need to demonize and have you fearful of something that I can't have access to. In order to have access to Mother Earth, I must have melanin. It doesn't matter if I do hoodoo, Christianity, Ifa, voodoo, the ATR is nothing but a vehicle by which you harness, direct, and disperse your energy. Whether you buy an equipment inside your house or whether you get a membership at a gym, it is still equipment there to develop your energy, frequency, and vibration. It's just that simple. When a man or woman doesn't want to respect the rules and regulations of the facility by which you harness, direct, and disperse your energy, that's about respect. And so you want to do what you want to do, how you want to do it in the facility. The gym. You don't want to go by the rules. You want to be able to walk up to this man or woman that is utilizing the facility and just tell them, I want to use that machine now. This is the same people that get into ATRs and try to do their own thing when there are universal laws that come along with those situations and circumstances. The reason why you want to fear the energy is because you don't want to respect the energy. When a man don't want to respect his vows to a woman, I'm going somewhere, y'all. When a woman don't want to respect her vows to her husband, when a child don't want to respect the governance of the parent, the first thing they're going to try to do is bring you on equal playing field in order to justify the disrespect. This is why a child will tell their parent, I'll call 911 on you. Because they have intention of being disrespectful in the home that's been provided for and prepared for them. It's all anchored in disrespect. When I want to disregard your imagery and I wanted to disregard your place and placement in life, then I got to, in order to disrespect it, I have to make it dangerous. I have to make it evil. I have to have people believe that there's something wrong because I'm not allowed to operate in any kind of way. See, I want to practice voodoo and Santeria Lakumi, but I don't want your face on it. I want to work with African gods and still disrespect African people. That's all it is. Because you would not have a problem with African spirituality if you were respecting African spirituality, because it's nature. But when you want to go against nature and you want to go against African spirituality, which is based in nature, and you want to go against my ancestors, which are the originator of those African traditions, then you have to make me and other people feel that it's dangerous and there's harm there. If I don't have any intention of robbing you, why would I care if you got a security system? Why would I care if you got an animal or a gun in your establishment when I have no intention of disrespecting your home? I have no intention of stealing from your home. I have no intention of colonializing what you're doing. There's no reason to have fear, because I honor and respect the spirituality. It's just that simple. But when I want to dismiss it, and I want the history to start with where I picked up, and I want to disregard your history when your ancestors were in rulership, and I want to disregard your history when your ancestors were in rulership, the reason we have used car lots is because people have a right to purchase used vehicles. But you don't have a right as a seller to try to sell me a used car that you clearly know a used car that you clearly know is not brand new. If people were respecting the timelines of energy, frequency, and vibration, we would not have the problems. We would just respect the game. But that's not what's going on. Because I want to blot out your history to talk about my history. That's the same thing a woman would tell a man: if she was so good, why you ain't still there? Right? When we are allowed to be emotional and not respect the facts that remain, if your emotions that you're having are having a problem with the facts involved in your situation, then your emotions are not justified. Your murder is not justified. Your stealing is not justified. Because somebody does not, in your opinion, value their diamonds and minerals, and you see all the things that you can pilfer and exploit because they have it, doesn't justify you trying to take it from them. And when you go from one country to the next trying to possess their minerals and try to possess the things that make their land valuable, that doesn't make you a good person. And by the way, Jesus Christ, you have to understand where that comes from. And you have to also understand that the Lord is a title. Just like Duke and King, Queen, it's a title. And I want y'all to understand, when somebody forces their opinions and their perceptions on you, then you know that it's not coming from a place. It doesn't make me a liar. Those are facts. If you understood history, you would know that there was no such thing in the Hebrew alphabet as a J. So there could not have been a Jesus. That's why we say Yahshua. Because in Hebrew alphabet, where everybody interpreting the Bible from, that language did not have a J. So there's no way there could have been called Jesus or Christ. And Christ, the word comes from Greek, means anointed, one. Yah, Jesus is really the way you pronounce Jesus. And Jesus is a Spanish word. I'm going to say something to anybody that's on the platform. When you want to be heard, but you don't want to be seen, when you are allowed to come on social media and hide behind an account where your picture is not seen, your voice is not, and you want to be recognized, the word God is a title. There are many gods in the earth. And anybody that walk in facts know I'm telling the truth. You don't even know the name of your God. You're out here fighting and arguing about a God that you don't even know that it's just like not knowing your biological parents' government names. Yes, they mama and daddy, but what's their name? And that's what I want y'all to really recognize. When you come up in a culture that is of rape and force, you don't have to be rational emotionally. All you got to do is be upset about what you believe in. And it doesn't have to be based in any truth. It doesn't have any historical value. Because you believe it, then it's simply so. Because you get upset about it, or because you have an emotional outfit about it, then you can disregard facts. And we are in the age of Aquarius. And now your feelings can't supersede facts. And therefore, you get emotional. I like what Voodoo Bay said. It doesn't matter if you don't believe in what I'm doing, does it really matter what I think I'm thinking I'm talking to you? The emotions cloud their judgment. But what you're saying, it's a truth, but what we're not looking at is why it's clouding their judgment. It's intentional to cloud your judgment. How can you as a man or woman be of any sound mind when you are operating in emotion? That's what I thought. Witchcraft. Okay, now let me break this down. The word witch is not an African term. It was created by Europeans to describe what they thought or perceived Africans, what they thought or perceived African spirituality was. And you're not interested in where a word derived from, because as long as you feel that you believe it is, calling somebody a witch or witchcraft is not African spirituality. It was never a term that was used. And so therefore, it's like me coming into your parents' house and talking about what I do at my parents' house. We got different rules and regulations. You got all these questions. And let me tell y'all something. And if you ever engage with an emotional person, they are artists at deflecting. When you answer every question with facts, they just go to something there, because those people are not interested in the truth. Anybody that's emotional is not interested in the truth. They're interested in how they feel about what they believe in. See, when you're here to reason with your brothers and sisters, that means that you got a set of facts, I got a set of facts. I got a perception based off a set of facts, and you got a perception. But you're not interested in it, are you? And this is where fear comes in. Because you won't take out the time to study, to know yourself, show yourself approved. Only thing you want to go based off what you feel and based off what you heard. If you in a court of law, you are not an eyewitness. Therefore, you would not be a good witness. And all would be said is, Your Honor, hearsay. Imagine how much of your belief system is based off hearsay, not in an actual relationship with the very God you claim to be defending. At least we have facts behind our spirituality because it's a science. It's about energy, frequency, and vibration. You don't have to believe in my God or goddess, but you can't deny the energy because energy don't lie. You can't deny the testimonies of the manifestation, whether you believe in my particular African deities or not. That's what's so beautiful about facts. That's why I don't anchor myself in my feelings, because I can feel right and not be right. And so when somebody is not trying to get to an end result of truth, then they create chaos. And that's their prerogative. It's not about education. It's not about having sound doctrine that you believe in and there's evidence. Just like people can be in a relationship and never get nothing out of the relationship. But the fact that they got a relationship, that validates them. It doesn't matter if they're not successful together. It doesn't matter if they're not loyal to each other. Only thing that matters to these people is fear. And that's why men tell women, you better not leave me. Nobody ain't. It's psychological. It's to get in your head. Vice versa. If you leave me, I'm going to take everything you got. To not be honest that grown people weaponize emotions to entrap each other. You're not interested in truth because you can grow from truth. You can be set free from truth. You can advance when you're dealing in the truth. This is why we have the concept of lunatic. Because when you're over emotional, you're going to be operating like a lunatic. I'm going to say this. If you want to understand the fear that are around African spirituality, it because Anglo-Saxon, when they were colonizing, they seen the evidence of African spirituality. They have a reason. Let me explain this again. For you to not understand that people understand your African spirituality better than you do, this is when you see melanated people congregate. Why non-melanated people get so nervous? Did they catch on yet? Did they realize who they are yet? Are they realizing that they shouldn't be fighting among themselves? Have they realized that God got sheep not of their fold, so they come from different tribes? Because if I had treated a people that belongs to the divine the way a lot of these people have, and you had 400 years of sowing seed, I want to say to you, when that happened in Alabama, and that we call them Aquaman, when that young man went to defend that older guy that was being beyond harassed, and when that young why did melanated people get chills? They weren't nowhere around that event. They just watching. And they watched that young man swim across that channel to get to the other side. He wasn't worried about alligators. He wasn't worried about snakes. All he knew, he had to get to the other side to help that man. Why that man was being. I want y'all to understand consciousness. When we all feel something, when we all congregate, that's why it's nerve-wracking. Because we don't have to speak each other's language to connect. We don't have to have each other's background to connect. We can be gay, straight, or bi. We can be educated or not educated. We consciously, we can be coming and derived from total different backgrounds. But we are all unified when certain things happen. And that will always be their fear. Is this the day that they gonna get on top of the world? You don't prepare nuclear weapons from something you ain't afraid of. You don't prepare jails, bars that prohibit our energy flow. Why do you think they put you in cages? Because they're trying to eliminate the energy of your melanin. Why you think they paint jailhouse walls a certain color? Because it affects your psyche. It prohibits you from functioning in your melanin. What's up, my Stormy? Nobody goes out their way to protect and get weapons against a people that they're not threatened by. Because they know eventually what goes around comes around. That's all I'm saying. If you want to know that the angst around African spirituality, because if one awakens and becomes enlightened, it's going to cause the other one to awaken. The reason what people don't understand, we are divine gods and goddesses. And it only takes one Highlander to cause the illumination. Just one. And that means it's going to awaken every one of these melanated people. And they're going to be able to see because their third eye is going to be open. And so they're going to instantly know the truth. They ain't going to be taught the truth. They ain't going to have to be shown the truth. They're going to know because they're gods. They're going to be conscious of their higher self. And so therefore they're going to be able to read the energy. And what are we going to do when they don't have to read about the story? It's already written in the Akasha records, in their heart, in their memory. And because they're melanin, they're going to be able to tap into those Akasha records. And we can't afford that. Because they no longer have to be led by anybody. Do you understand why it's important for people to tap into your emotional body? To get you to fear the African sciences that will develop you and enlighten you. And they want to quiet the voices of those that speak such truth. And to the person that came in here, I would never serve a lesser God. And you can take that how you want to. Every time they mention this aspect, they don't realize they really talking about us. Just like X-Men, they talking about us. Predator, they talking about us. Aliens, they talking about us. They play in your face, and you let them. When it comes down to truth, I'm a Sagittarius. I'm used to certain things. If people want to grow and they want to have a respect for energy, frequency, and vibration, they don't have a problem embracing. They don't have a problem of embracing the genesis of a thing. They don't have a problem uh, embracing and respecting whoever's received the baton, like a relay race, and they don't have a problem who got how to finish this thing out. Anytime you see a relay race, they want their strongest runner at the end. So if they got a lead, they can maintain their lead. If they're behind, they can make up the ground. You don't start out with your strongest runner. That's how we can tell who the coach realized who got the smoke. The less smoke you got to start the race out. That's why in tennis we say first seed, second seed, third seed. It's based on ability and agility with the melanin. Why would God give you the mandate of Moses when you're not gonna lead with 3 or 4 people? It don't make no sense. The greater responsibility that a person may have, male or female, the more melanin and energy and protection they have need of. But that's what I came on here today. Thank you for all the likes. Remember this. If you're looking for the truth, if you're a seeker of the truth, you will always find it. When you seeking something outside of truth, you will find that too. So if you want to know why you end up on the paths, why you end up on the circles and encountering the people that you encounter, just look at yourself. If you didn't have the energy, you wouldn't resonate with those people, places, or those things. Because I'm a seeker of truth. That's why I realize I don't resonate with everybody. And I don't look to resonate with everybody. And I know why people are always trying to make people fear people. I was listening to the content creator Toya. And it resonated with me what she was talking about, because I've been going through it all my life. And it makes sense why if people had not done certain things to you or anybody, then you wouldn't be worried about reciprocity. You would not be concerned about if you honestly did not understand why that person feels the way they feel. When you say you can't understand the outrage of melanated people, then you ain't trying to see the truth. The moment you seek the truth, you have a very clear understanding why we looking side eye at a lot of people and a lot of races of people. But what once was first will be first again. I know that. That's why you always trying to regulate our emotions. That's why you always telling us to calm down. You're trying to regulate our emotional state. You're trying to tell us how to behave at the response of your action. How fair is that? That's like a man cheating on a woman and telling her to calm down because she found out he been unfaithful to her. How unfair is that? You telling me to calm down and you broke into my house. You stole my goods and services. And you're trying to control or navigate my emotional state. How rational is that? If I had enslaved your people, I would understand why you responded. If I cheated on you, lied on you, stole you, raped you, then I can understand why you ain't rejoicing at what I celebrate. How you don't understand why melanated people should not celebrate Christopher Columbus? Why you don't understand? That means you not dealing with no truth. If somebody took the life of somebody's child, you don't understand why they have certain feelings about you. It's beyond you. Like, why that don't make sense? Because you don't want it to make sense. And the only reason I was trying to highlight the young man, the person that was talking and all that, because we live in an emotional society. That's why we so sensitive. Because if you were dealing in facts, you wouldn't be that sensitive. You'll be saying, like I say, it is what it is. Just like I can't change the fact that I got three baby mamas. I don't care what I achieve in this life. Those are facts. Why I'm going to get over emotional about it is when I don't want to deal with reality and the truth. That's when you get over emotional about stuff. When you don't want to deal with, you want to deal with what you want to deal with. And that's not how life goes. And to all my mentally brothers and sisters, no one can erase our history. People don't have control of the Akasha records. We are comprised of all the universe. And so therefore water carries memory, air carries memory, fire carries memory, and earth carries memory. So how can you be erased? If every time they talk about what ain't a bone surface and they do forensic science and come to find out it's African descent. How you gonna claim a land when the bones that are buried in the land? Archaeologists are still pulling up all over this America's African. Either the firmament's gonna testify of our existence, either the earth's gonna testify of our existence, or the water gonna testify of our existence, or fire gonna do it. It's gonna get done. Because energy cannot be destroyed. Energy cannot be destroyed. And we are chaos energy. We're the highest intelligent and life form on planet Earth. Always have been and always will be. I don't care how uneducated they are. Once they tap into their melanin, they're going to be instantly in contact with information. That's why it's taught to fear. That's why it's taught not to support. That's why it's popular, but it's still infamous. I remember the time that African spirituality in the black church was not cool. Just like country wasn't cool. I was country when country wasn't even cool. A lot of y'all benefit because it's popular now. It don't mean you respect it. Because if you respect it, you go through the proper channels. Because you participate in something, don't mean you respect it. That's why you can marry a man that you don't respect. That's why you can marry a woman that you don't respect. Because we live in a society that our emotions matter more than facts. But we in the age of Aquarius, that's about to change. Whether you like it or not. Technology is going to move to the forefront, whether you like it or not. And if ain't this app, it's going to be another app. Because technology is going to be ruling for 2,000 years. All right? I hope this helped you. I hope that you actually got something out of this. I hope you actually out here seeking. Now, if you want to hear a more authentic version of myself, then follow me on YouTube. Because over here is some sensitive people. All right? Peace out.